Hey guys, it's Big John. I'm back again from Nome, Alaska. I got sent up here on a business trip. This is not one of my regular videos, but I did want to take my carnivore and my weight loss community out for a ride around Nome. I've been up here for quite some time. This is mid-September. The temperature is approximately 45 to 50 degrees, and we're just going to take a ride around town. Now, primarily I talk about my weight loss journey, my carnivore diet from 435 pounds down to, I believe I'm 267 pounds now in less than a year and a half. But the fun part about all of this is I actually get to do more stuff now that I've been losing weight. So this is a lot of fun. We're turning left on the front street, by the way, and the ocean, the Bering Sea, is right on the other side of these buildings. There's a rock wall and a little beach just behind these buildings, and it's just a super cool town. Now, this is where the iconic Iditarod finish line is. It's somewhere around here on this stretch, and as you look, you can see a lot of the old buildings. There's going to be a lot of old businesses we're going to pass by, and it's just a fun place to go. Now, I'm driving a side-by-side that a really good family friend loaned to me while I was here on this business trip. That way I was able to get to work on time by myself without having to wait for a ride. That's something I like to do, is be more independent no matter what, even here in town. I live in Anchorage, by the way, but this is where a lot of my family is from. So my side of the family is from Nome. My wife's side of the family is from King Island, and they cover the majority of this area. And if you look around, right to left, I believe the Aurora Inn, that's probably the business there on the left. That's one of the main hotels. And can you believe there's a trailer home like right up against the seawall? I mean, that's insane. I'd have a hard time sleeping throughout the storms, living in a trailer home right up against the ocean like that, because man, this place has flooded this entire road at times, and it's gotten pretty bad. If you look at this building here, a lot of these buildings are up on stilts, and I learned while I was up here that these buildings are up on stilts so that they don't push any heat downwards and melt the permafrost, because this whole environment up here, this whole landmass is just a bunch of permafrost underneath the ground, and if that permafrost melts, then a lot of these buildings are going to start to sink and sag. So that's why everything is up on stilts. And this is just one of the many back roads. This is Nome, Alaska downtown area. And there's a whole bunch to see here. This is only about an 18 to 19 minute video, but I just wanted to try to get you guys out, show you what the area looks like. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, you got Connexes here and there. That's pretty normal. A lot of beat up vehicles. Now, when vehicles typically come to Nome, they come here to die. So these people have them shipped up from Anchorage, and it costs us about $4,000 to $7,000 to ship a vehicle to Nome. So an average vehicle cost up here can be much higher because, yeah, they shipped it up here. And then if you buy a used vehicle up here in Nome, then you might be buying a vehicle that just had, 500 to 1,000 hours of idle time, and idle time is really hard on motors. But a lot of times you're going to be buying something with a lot of suspension issues, because these roads are incredibly rough throughout the year. They do smooth out a little bit in the summertime. I'm sorry, they smooth out a little bit in the wintertime. My apologies. But in the summertime, these roads get blasted out with potholes. This is one of the, beautiful days. And I've been up here for a couple of weeks now, and it's been like sea-driven, misty type rain, kind of miserable. But overall, when we get these nice days, everything just seems to dry up really fast, and it gets incredibly dusty. Now, as you can see, a lot of these side streets, they're incredibly narrow, and I am gonna die. Oh, yeah, that guy was not paying attention to me. I'm glad I got out of the way. And we got a puddle jumper over there on the right. But as you can see, I mean, I'm driving a side-by-side, and this thing's not even registered to drive on these roads, but it's just incredibly fun because you can do this up here. You can run around a side-by-side, you can ride a dirt bike, you can ride a four-wheeler just about everywhere. And then when the snow melts, I mean, there's like 100-something miles of road you can travel outside of town. I think one of the towns heading kind of south along the coast, I believe that is about 76 miles out. And then you can go out to Teller the other way, and then you can go a little bit further to King Island campsites and stuff like that. That's where my wife's family has a campsite set up, and it's a pretty well-established campsite that she's done some fishing videos in the past. If you don't know who my wife is, my wife's Mylene. Her YouTube channel is Real Alaskan Fishing, and that's spelled R-E-E-L, Alaskan Fishing. And yeah, she creates content around Alaskan adventures similar to what I do. I just primarily focus on my weight loss journey, the type of fasting or eating principles that I'm doing right now. And I just share the experience because anybody can lose weight with little to no exercise. And if it wasn't for all of this in the last year and a half, where I've lost like over 160 something pounds, I wouldn't be up here. I wouldn't be able to do this type of stuff. But okay, we're getting over closer to the hospital. Now, Nome does have a hospital. Some of the locals here call it the Tylenol clinic because the majority of what the hospital does here is like Band-Aids and duct tape in theory. They do have a lot of doctors that come up here, and they fly up here from other places from around the country and around Anchorage, and they go out to visit a lot of the villages. They try to help out the community the best way possible. And over here, there's a skate park over here, by the way. I mean, it kind of blew me away that there's a skate park in Nome, Alaska. I highly doubt Tony Hawk will come up here and do any skating at the skate park. And then they have an ice skating rink set up over here to the left. This is like some of the commercial businesses over here, or older buildings. There was a building closer to where I work that actually fell down on a whole bunch of new vehicles. Did a lot of damage to the vehicles, but they just got those pulled out. And I'm not sure what's going to happen with those vehicles, but yeah, that was pretty impressive to see that a whole building sank and fell down on top of some brand new cars that were sitting up here. And once in a while you might see some random snow machines. There's a lot of snow machines up here, and a lot of the snow machines don't even run. They're just here. I mean, people ran them for a little while, they broke down, and like everything else, we don't have like an Arctic Cat dealership up here. There is no car dealership up here that I can think of. So if something breaks down, you could be waiting weeks or months to get things repaired. Now, I had an instance where I was doing laundry in the apartment and my dryer didn't work, so I freaked out. I started hanging everything up around the room, and then I found out it was just a simple wiggle of the switch and I could get it working again. But I asked some of my friends that live here, and I was like, so what happens when your washer or dryer breaks? And they're like, well, typically it's going to take you about a month and a half to find a replacement or to get the repair parts to make it work again. Now, so that's a month and a half you might be without something as critical as a washer or dryer at times. So that's another deciding factor on like, okay, do I really want to move up here to Nome? And the other problem is housing. You look around and you see a lot of houses. Some of these houses are not occupied right at the moment. That's because the hospital buys up the houses for patient housing when patients come in from the village. Traveling doctors come up here. They need a place to stay. Mining companies and stuff like that, and also my business. They also buy up these apartments. They also buy up some of these homes. So they have a place to put seasonal workers that come up in the summer or winter time. So they have these homes year round and they're kind of tied up. So that means a lot of these local families, some of them live in tiny 20-foot Connex boxes, like 5 of them in a tiny Connex box like this over here on the right. You could have a family of 5 or 10 people living in something like that. And that's not uncommon up here. Now my family, they have a pretty small home. It's a pretty humble cabin looking type house. And I would consider it a house. It's very comfortable when you go inside, but when you look on the outside, it's really not that impressive on the outside like what most traditional people see down in the Anchorage area or other suburbs, around other different places in the country, because a lot of the weather comes up here and it just damages the buildings. It rips the siding off at times. It rips roof paneling off. I heard a story from a coworker that one of the buildings in the area, every year loses a roof panel, and then we get some severe high winds up here because it comes right off the ocean. and rips over the top of all of these buildings here. And once in a while, if you're looking at the right time, you can see a piece of plywood fly by you, or a big piece of sheet metal just zimming through the air. And if you get hit by that, that's going to kill you pretty quick. But luckily, I haven't heard of any deaths or fatalities lately about instances like that. But so far, this is, you see these kids are just out riding their bicycle. Now, there's a lot of community bicycles up here. One thing I have noticed is that people can leave their vehicles running, outside of their home. They can leave it idle at the store. Nobody's gonna steal it up here because everybody knows everybody. The majority of eyeballs that are out here are pretty responsible. The kids are allowed to run free. Very, very young kids. That's something that you'll see at times. Very young kids, like really short, like within 5-6 years old, they'll be out just wandering around playing and having a good time. But there's so many eyeballs here that are watching these kids. They just get left alone from anybody that's thinking nefarious thoughts. So that's kind of reassuring. Something else I noticed when I was up here, I didn't see a lot of stray animals. When I first got up here, the first week, I saw a stray cat for 2 or 3 days. And I believe that cat was just curious because I'm a new person, and it was just looking for a home. That's what cats do right before winter, is they tend to search out, viable humans that might want to take care of them throughout the winter. And then about a week later, I also found that there was a can of cat food underneath the stairway where I was staying at the apartment. So somebody was apparently feeding that stray cat. Now, another thing I've noticed is that I have not seen one single stray dog, this entire time being here. Now, right before I left this job and I got on the airplane to head home, that was like the only time I saw a random dog running around. It ran kind of from our job site across the street towards the skate park, and there was a bunch of kids there. It was a golden retriever looking type dog. It looked super happy, super friendly, but I just kept an eyeball on that dog just to make sure it wasn't going to attack the children. It did wind up running right by the kids. It was just a happy dog. I followed it all the way back over to where my business is set up, and then it took off in between a couple warehouses. So, thankfully, it was a pretty peaceful dog. But you can see how crowded these roads are, even in the summertime. They get more crowded in the winter. Now, on the right here, this is a church that a lot of people rent out for functions and stuff like that. This is called the Anvil Square. It's a pretty popular place that people go after work every day. As they come over here, they hang out in the park in the green space. And there's also a store right next to it. It's called Hanson's, which is similar to a Car's Safeway. And that's where I believe they get a lot of their products from. And that's a shot of the church right there. And you can see all the dredge buckets. They use that for decoration. And then there's a big gold panning gnome sign that people take a picture in front of a lot. This is the local grocery store, one of them. Now, Nome has 2 big grocery stores. One of them is Hanson's, and the other one's just down the road, just a little further. And that's called AC. AC's been around since like 1800 something. It's been around for a very long time. It started out like a little shack, and then it just grew up over the years and became something pretty amazing. Right now, we're going to head a little bit further, closer to the port of Anchorage. The port of Nome, not Anchorage. What am I thinking? I've been in Anchorage for so long, it's just a natural thing for me to say. It's just Anchorage. This is Nome, Alaska. And the sky is beautiful. Check that out. It's not all mixed up with a bunch of chemtrails. There are some random planes that come from off in the distance at times that streak across the sky. But the sky up here does not get clouded up like it does over Anchorage. I don't know what the deal is with all that. Because, if we get a good sunny day in Anchorage, you see these streaks come across, and they come from a weird place on the other side of the mountains. And then all of a sudden, a few hours later, the whole sky is just covered. This is one of my favorite houses right here. This one right here, that is like perfect for snowfall. You don't get any snow falling down on the sides. It's got an insulation value that's got to be super high just because of the dome shape of the house, similar to like an Airstream type trailer. So you can heat it really efficiently, and you don't have to worry a lot about the snow accumulating on the roof. And that building has been there for a very long time. Now this spot right here is where I like to stand first thing in the morning. Doesn't matter if the sun's up or not. I stand here, I listen to the ocean. Even after when I get out of work, I come out and I check out the just the ocean, look at stuff, get the fresh air, because there's a lot of extremely nice days up here at times where you can just get out and do stuff like this, and there's not a whole lot else to do, you know, just besides get out, walk around. And one of the basic modes of transportation up here in Nome is walking. I mean, people walk everywhere. They walk extremely long distances. Now check out this boat. Now this is one of the old dredges. This thing's been here for a very long time. It's just been sitting there. There is some stuff set up around it, like people have been working on it, but I haven't really seen anything been done to that old dredge. And it came out of the water, I'm guessing right over here. This is kind of where you would drag your boat up for dry dock. But I don't see a lot of stuff up here on dry dock. Most of the stuff is sitting down in the water. Now this is, I guess they call this area the jetty. That's a new word to me. My mom taught me that in a conversation when she was teaching me a little bit about my heritage up here. But this is a really nice place that people come down, they walk. This is where a lot of the mining companies have their dredges anchored up. And the other day there was a whole lot of, you know, dredges set up right here at dock, and they're probably out in the ocean right now mining for gold, because it's a beautiful day. The water's pretty calm. But as you can see, it's just like a nice calm area. Now, one of my coworkers talked to me about the old jetty that used to be here, and it went down the other direction. But I guess the waves there were just something else, because they used to come down here as children and just play on the rocks, you know, as kids, and, you know, watch the boats coming in. Then my mom said I believe my grandfather, he used to be the tugboat operator for one of the shipping companies up here. He used to be the one in charge of pulling the boats in and out. That way they got in safely and didn't run into stuff accidentally. Because I guess it's pretty hard to steer the larger boats in a tight spot, and so that's what the tugboats were used for. But we're gonna head on over here, and you're gonna get another view of that massive dredge. I mean, it's hard to explain in words. If you can't stand next to it, I mean, it's really hard to just tell the size and massiveness of this. I mean, there would be, let's say, equipment, like actual either tracked vehicles or wheeled vehicles on this dredge here. You know, like a loader could be on there, and they would load up the hopper on top with gravel, and it would sort out, you know, all the fines and hopefully get some gold out of it. But yeah, this has been fun. You know, I enjoy doing stuff like this, guys, once in a while. We are an Alaska channel, so you might see some videos like this from time to time. Other than that, I try to keep it weight loss related and just interesting, as interesting as I can possibly get. But there's a really cool building right up here that I did want to show you guys before we take off out of here. But it's the old veterinary clinic. Now, my wife talked about it when she was living up here. This clinic used to be in operation. I mean, take a look at this place. Like, wow, that was a veterinary clinic. I mean, this is just how things work up here in Nome, Alaska. And if you're interested in my weight loss journey, yeah, please subscribe to the channel. You can also subscribe to check out more videos that might come up just like this. And as always, guys, I hope to see you in the next one.